Hello, and in this video tutorial we're going to be looking at the properties of quadrilaterals and the angle properties of quadrilaterals as well. The first stage of this lesson would be to recognize the different types of quadrilaterals, and then the second stage of the lesson we'll be able to work with the angles of quadrilaterals. The word quadrilateral can be divided into two parts, quad and lateral. Quad, you've probably heard of that before, means four. So like a quad bike means four wheels. Here we've got quad lateral, and lateral is a word that means side, so it means four-sided. So we're talking about four-sided shapes here. So the key words, exterior and interior. That means exterior means the angles on the outside of the quadrilateral. Interior means the angles inside the quadrilateral. Right angled. So right angle, 90 degrees when two lines meet each other at 90 degrees, create a 90-degree angle, a right angle. Quadrilateral, a square, rectangle, rhombus, parallelogram. The word parallel is there, so it's got the parallel sides. Trapezium, isosceles trapezium, kite, and an arrowhead. So the first quadrilateral is our equilateral quadrilateral, which we call a square. And the reason we call it equilateral quadrilateral because it has four equal sides. And also, this side is parallel to this side, and this side is parallel to this side. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of parallel sides. It's also got symmetry. Here's a line of symmetry down here. This side's symmetrical to this side. A line of symmetry here. The top is the same as the bottom. And then you can also have it folded like so and like so. It's got 4 lines of symmetry. The next one is our rectangle. Here we have this side and this side are equal to each other. And they're also parallel to each other. This side and this side are equal to each other, and they're also parallel to each other. So it has two sets of equal sides, 4 right angles, and 2 sets of parallel sides. Symmetrical, there's 2 lines of symmetry. The left here is symmetry to the right, and when we draw a line going across, the top is symmetrical to the bottom. Only has 2 lines of symmetry. Let's take a look at the next one. Here we have a rhombus. A rhombus is similar to a square, except for one property. We can see here that all the sides are equal, just like a square. It has 2 sets of parallel sides, so this side is parallel to this side, and this side is parallel to this side. However, there's no right angles. So this angle here is equal to this angle, and this angle is equal to this angle. So it's 4 equal sides, 2 sets of equal angles, and 2 sets of parallel sides. It has symmetry. It's symmetrical straight down the middle like so, so left symmetrical to the right, and straight across, top symmetrical to the bottom. So it's got 2 lines of symmetry. The parallelogram is a bit like the rectangle. Top side is the same as the bottom side, and they're also parallel. The left side and the right side are equal to each other, and they're parallel. However, what makes the parallelogram different to the rectangle is there's no right angles. So this angle is equal to this angle. This angle here is equal to this angle. Opposite angles are equal to each other. Just like the rhombus has opposite angles equal to each other. The parallelogram, opposite angles are equal to each other. And that's going to be important to us later on in this video tutorial. So we have 2 sets of equal sides, 2 pairs of equal angles, and 2 sets of parallel sides. There's no lines of symmetry on the parallelogram. The trapezium. The trapezium is only defined by having 1 set of parallel sides. This side is parallel to this side. There's no sides that are equal in length, so that's your simple trapezium. There's no symmetry as well. Here we have an isosceles trapezium because we've came across this word before, isosceles. So iso means equal and sceles means legs. So we have two equal legs here. So here and here are our two equal legs. So this size the same size as this. And also the trapezium has to have one set of parallel sides. So this side is parallel to this side. What that creates is a line of symmetry right down the bottom, from top to bottom, like so, down the middle. And that will mean that this angle here is the same as this angle here. And this bottom angle is the same as this bottom angle. So the bottom angles are equal, the top angles are equal. On to the last two, we have the kite. And the kite has symmetry right down the middle, like so, which means that this side is equal to this side is equal to this side, and then this angle is equal to this angle. So two sets of equal sides, one pair of equal angles, no parallel sides, and that's your kite. The arrowhead is similar to the arrowhead. It has the same properties because we can draw one line of symmetry down, straight down the middle, meaning that this side is equal to this side here is the same as this side, and then this bottom angle and this bottom angle are equal. So two sets of equal sides, one pair of equal angles, and no parallel sides. Now is your time to pause the video and have a go at the worksheet that I provided. If you don't have the worksheet, have a go at naming all these quadrilaterals on this diagram. Press play when you're ready to reveal the answers. And here are the answers. A is a rectangle, B is a kite, C is a square, D is a rhombus, E is a arrowhead, F is a trapezium, G is a parallelogram, H is a kite, I is a parallelogram. Angles and quadrilaterals. Angles and quadrilaterals add up to 360 degrees. So that means if you have A plus B plus C plus D, adding up all four angles, they add up to 360 degrees. This is a fact that you need to take note of. Angles in a quadrilateral add up to 360 degrees. We're going to use this information now to answer some questions. So let's take a look at some examples. Here, we need to work out the missing angle AB. So if we add up the four angles inside this quadrilateral, it should give us 360 degrees. Because angles inside a quadrilateral add up to 360. So what we can do to get A, if we do 360, take away these three angles, that will give us 64 degrees. Another way you can do it is you can add these three angles up and then take away from 360 and you'll still get 64 degrees. It's however way you like to do it. So this is 64 degrees. How can we work out angle B? Well, as you can see, there's a straight line here. Angles on the straight line add up to 180 degrees. So to get B, we'll do 180, take away the 64 degrees, and that gives us 116 degrees. What about example 2? Work out the missing angle C and D. So what we can see here is this is a parallelogram. And what do we know about parallelograms? We know that opposite angles in a parallelogram are equal to each other. So opposite angles are equal. So C must have to be 110 degrees. How did we work out D? Well, this bottom angle here is D as well. So we have two of those Ds. So we can say 2D is equal to 360 take away these 210s, 140. Therefore, D, one of them is 140 divided by 2. That gives us 70 degrees. What you might notice here is that this 110 degrees and this 70 degrees, they both add up to give you 180 degrees. So you can also say that adjacent angles on a parallelogram, they add up to 180 degrees. And another way of looking at it is co-interior angles when you have parallel lines. So we have a parallel line here and a parallel line here. We have our C angle, which is co-interior, and you know the co-interior angles add up to 180 degrees. So that's 110, that's 70, that's 180 degrees. So there's a few different ways of getting angle D there. All ways are correct. Now you need to go back to the worksheet and complete the rest of the questions. If you don't have the worksheets, answer these questions, pause the video, and then when you're ready, I will reveal the answers. So here are the answers. So these four angles add up to 360. So if we take these three angles away from 360, we will get A. A is 63 degrees. What about B? We can do the same. So these three angles take away from 360 gives us B. B is 110 degrees. What about C? C, well, we add up known angles. This is a right angle, that's 90 degrees. Take away from 360 will get us our answer. 103 degrees. Then lastly, we have to work out D and E. We'll work out D first because it's inside the quadrilateral. It's an interior angle. So D equals 360 take away these three angles, get you D, which is 168 degrees. And that allows us to work out E because D and E are on a straight line. So E is 180, take away 168, 12 degrees. Again, if you don't have the worksheet, pause the video now and have a go at these questions and press play when you're ready. So this is a kite. Remember, it has symmetry. This side is equal, this side is the same as this side, so E and G, those angles are the same. So E is 84 degrees. F, remember there's symmetry down like this on a rhombus. So if that's 85 degrees, then F is 85 degrees. And then there's symmetry this way. So if that's 95, then G is 95. So remember that opposite angles on a rhombus are equal to each other. Same as a parallelogram. So those two angles are equal to each other. 110 degrees. And then what about I? Well, adjacent angles are add up to 180 degrees on a parallelogram, because that's the co-interior angles, because you got this side here is parallel to this side. So when you have a line going through those two sides, you get your C angle, and C angles add up to 180 degrees. Another way is add the 110 up together. 360 take away that, then divide by 2 gives you 70 degrees. So there's some ways, different ways of doing it. H, we have our arrowhead. So what we need to do is we need to realize that this angle here is I. So we add the 30 and 220 together, take away from 360. And then we divide by 2 because there's two of them. We get 110 divided by 2. You get I. J even. J to be 55 degrees. Again, if you don't have the worksheet, pause the video and have a go at these ones. And when you're ready, hit play. So, remember, adjacent angles on a parallelogram add up to 180 degrees. So 180 take away 86 is 94 degrees. What about here? Well, this is a rhombus, and again, adjacent angles are equal to each other because we have, not equal to each other, add up to 180 degrees because we have our C shape here. Because this and this are parallel to each other, so we have our co-interior angle. So that will give us 132 degrees. However, I've done it a different way here. Realize this is 48, so down here is 48 degrees, and this must be I here, or L. So there's two L's, so we divide by 2, get 132 degrees. Here, we've got a kite. We know that this is 102 degrees because these two angles are equal. So we just do 360, take away 114, take away 102, take away 102. And that gives us 42 degrees. Then lastly, L. Well, these two angles, they're adjacent, they're next to each other on a parallelogram. So therefore, 180 take away 132 degrees, and that gives us 48 degrees. Here's the last two before we go into a more problem solving type question. Work out these two. Remember, if you don't have the worksheet, pause the video now and hit play when you're ready. So how can we work out M? Well, we need to work out this angle here first. And those two angles here are equal. So it's O is 145 degrees. Because this is on a straight line with this. This will be 35 degrees. And this will be 35 degrees. 35, 35, 264, and 26. They add up to give you 360. Then P, well, if that's 117 degrees, then what would this angle be? Well, this angle will be 63 degrees because these angles are adjacent to each other and they add up to 180. Then this is a straight line here, so 180 take away 63 gives us 117 degrees. Or you can look at your, remember your parallel lines. You got this and this and this and this is an F angle, which means that P and 117 degrees, they are corresponding, and corresponding angles are equal. Thanks for watching this video on quadrilaterals.